Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live here on Facebook where anything goes. No, I'm just kidding. Not anything goes. But today we have, well, my goodness, we have all kinds of things today. It's a snarky day because we're going to have some snarky news. We're going to have important news. We're going to have interesting news. I think we have happy news. Yeah. And if not, we'll make them happy ourselves. Of course, it is Tuesday, March 8th. It is not Taco Tuesday. I didn't prepare a Taco Tuesday. I need to get myself to new taco places because what happens is I end up going to the same places as usual, and that's not fair to you guys. So I will resume my taco research for next week. Meanwhile, as always, we welcome new friends to the cluster. If this is your first time joining us, please write the word new in your comment, new, and then we'll give you a nice little welcome. And of course, if you have something truly important that you wish to share with us, please add a capital letter Q so we can look at it. In many days, we can look at all the comments at the end, but sometimes we get a lot of content and we want to focus just on what is essential. But this is what we're going to do today. We're going to go, as always, through our news and then our weather, and then we'll get to your comments. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Well, updates regarding the tragedy that took place this past Saturday at the La Corregidora Stadium in Querétaro continue to trickle in as authorities try to make sense of the violent attacks that took place during a football game between the local team and the Atlas team from the city of Guadalajara. As such, several headlines have caught my attention, but I'll try to summarize everything I've read using this one as an anchor. So far, 26 people have been identified as part of the group of people that started the violence, and the Querétaro government has issued warrants for their arrest and to search their homes for more information. Elsewhere, we learned that members of the Querétaro soccer team have received multiple death threats since the event took place. And the team trainer, Hernan Cristante, who also has received death threats, reported on the broken state of mind of the entire team, with spouses fearing for the team members' lives and begging them not to play football anymore. 19 of the 26 wounded victims that were hospitalized have been released from the hospital, but family members of one of the more critically injured victims are attempting to raise funds online due to the fact that the victim had a stroke and the family cannot afford the hospital bill. Another victim sadly lost an eye in the fights, all over a football game. This is so very sad. There is some speculation about the true source of the violence that took place, but rather than stir the pot, I've chosen to focus on what has been actually confirmed. Now, for the show notes, I will only include this one that we are including here. But if you want more information on some of these other facts that I've shared with you, just let me know and we will publish the other headlines as well. In similar fashion, in trying to understand what is going on with the city workers here in Puerto Vallarta, the ones that went on strike, I've gathered information from several news sources. And I tell you, this is as messy as the Seapal Caca waters. Mayor Michel appeared, as in he actually showed up instead of sending one of his cronies, to explain that the reason he hasn't showed up in public to respond against the demands of the workers' union is due to the fact that the demands are illegal. Much of the dirt that Mayor Michel pulled from under the rug centers on two very specific situations. The first one has to do with 240 city workers that were mysteriously added or incorporated into the union right before the past administration ended. By the way, workers need to meet certain requirements, including having been employed by the city for 3 years, in order to join the union. But these 240 workers just sort of poofed their way into the union. As such, the city is not firing them, but the city has started legal action against them. How did they end up in the union? Well, that question brings us to the union leader, Gilberto Lorenzo. And this is where my jaw just dropped. According to Mayor Michel, this gentleman who runs the union, the City Workers Union, Gilberto Lorenzo, he retired in 2017 with a pension of 81,605 pesos per month. That's not bad, if you ask me. But complicity with past administration workers allowed him to remain in the city's payroll as what is known as a chofer A or A category driver at a tune of 63,284 pesos a month. Where is my drum? Here. Now, before you all quit your jobs and run to City Hall to try to get a job as a category A driver for 63,284 pesos a month, please know that the actual salary of a category A driver is 11,000 pesos per month. So how did the union leader manage to weasel a 149,476 peso per month income when he's retired? Well, that's the question, isn't it? So Mayor Michel said, "We will gladly pay for the Christmas bonus for working extra hours during the holiday season that the workers are demanding for, but the union leader, this gentleman, must cough up 3,529,448 pesos, which he has illegally obtained from the government since retiring in 2017. Meanwhile, the city bureaucrats are back at work, but the damage is done. Yes, we can go back to City Hall or any other local government building and conduct official business, but with a certain sense of insecurity. As you can see by this image, all of City Hall is now blocked, surrounded by additional security and metal barriers. And what can we say of the traffic chaos that took place last week? These were bureaucrats whose salaries we pay for with our taxes, but instead of laundering their grievances through dialogue with city officials, they took to the streets and made our lives unnecessarily complicated by blocking traffic. To raise awareness of a situation that we didn't cause to begin with, making it so very difficult not to feel a certain disdain for them. And of course, this is an ongoing situation, so only God knows what will happen next. Another crocodile has been busted partying where it shouldn't have, this time around the Aguasarca Canal, not far from the El Salado estuary. The 2.8 meter specimen was subdued and relocated to a safe natural area. But if you ask me, one has to wonder why so many crocs are out and about this time of year when it is usually during the rain season that they choose to go places. I'm so very glad that I live on the third story of my building. That's all I'm going to say about that. And lastly, before we get into more snarky, leisurely stuff, I just want to remind you that the city has begun closing down Manantial Street during the evenings to conduct repairs and reconstruction of the only street that connects Paso Ancho, Buenos Aires, and other communities along the Rio Cuale with the rest of the city. That's just a Tuesday for you. How is that? Now, let's turn to the weather. It's fracking sunny. Are you happy now? Says our snarky carrot weather today. It is 24 degrees out there, feels like 25. Humidity is at 50%. And for the Fahrenheit devotees out there, the 2 or 3 or 5 of you, our Fahrenheit weather temperature is 76 degrees. What can we expect today? Today we can expect a clear day with a high temperature of 27, low temperature of 15. Wednesday, tomorrow, another clear day with a high temperature of 28 and low temperature of 15. And Thursday, another clear day with a high temperature of 28 and a low temperature of 14. Not bad. Not bad for what we have of the week so far. What is next? What is next? Let's see. Luna, what do we have to talk about next? Oh, yes, of course, I know what we have to talk about next. The small pleasures of life. I have a small pleasure of life to share with you. Ta-da! So yesterday I was having one of those days and I figured, fuck Bed Bath & Beyond. I have to have a boiled egg slicer right now. So I went and got myself one. End of story. That's it. Why am I showing you that? Well, because I can. And secondly, because, it's the simple joys that make life wonderful. What are the simple things that make you happy? Let me know in the comments and we will compare some notes. Let me switch over to this. Today is, of course, International Women's Day. And this statement or post by the government of Jalisco caught my attention. I almost want to read it verbatim, but I won't bore you with it. But this brings up an interesting point. World Women's Day or International Women's Day is not a day to congratulate women. It is a day to commemorate, acknowledge, and increase the visibility of the importance of women that have fought for equality, exercising their rights, for accessing justice and a life free of violence. So I think what the government is trying to say here, and I read a couple of things about this elsewhere, is that if you congratulate women on the day like today, are you making it easier or better or worse for women around the world? We're not going to get into that discussion, but it is an interesting way to look at things. Let's see what else we have. Oh, yes. Seapal is bringing back their annual celebration of World Water Day with their traditional half marathon on March 27, which had been canceled for the past 2 years. I don't know what the winning prizes are, but given the abundance of a certain type of smelly water in the city, I certainly hope that a good hose down at the finish line is not one of the perks. Yes, but boom. Hotels are keeping their fingers crossed and waiting to see if the state health board will increase occupancy to 100% during Semana Santa. As in years past, yours truly is packing the pantry with food and wine and binging on Netflix. I think it's only fair that we allow tourists to roam free around the city for 1 week of the year when we can enjoy it for the other 51 weeks. And In the show announcement, I mentioned that I found a way you can obtain or have access to free therapy in the city of Guadalajara. Yes, everybody needs a shrink from time to time. And in Guadalajara, you can be sent to see a shrink for free. I've just found out. All you have to do is make a lot of noise. Yes, make a lot of noise. The city of Guadalajara has sent 59 citizens to a shrink for being loud neighbors. It was either that or being fined or expected to do community work. So if you feel like you need to go see a shrink, just get loud. There you go. And that's the snarky news for today. Let us see what we have in store from you. La 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 la. Lots of good mornings, and these are great to read as always. Oh my goodness. Alan is almost here. The king of snarky humor, well, one of them here at Coffee and Headlines, is almost here. Have you packed your bags yet? I hope you have. Let's see, more good mornings from places as far away as Portland. I remember when we used to get good mornings from Switzerland, and then the Swiss moved to Puerto Vallarta. I met the Swiss at an event not too long ago. Let's see. See, there you go, Michal. Happy International Women's Day to all of you fabulous gals, not galls, gals. Let's see what else we have. Javier says maybe we should get rid of the cheer sections in stadiums. Well, this is actually something that is being discussed. That stadiums should not have this anymore. Something else that I forgot to mention is the issue of not enough security members. Apparently, hiring security is expensive for stadium owners and football team leaders. So one of the things that is circulating around the internet, and I don't know that it is true or false or if it's made up or real, is that the people that run the La Corregidora Stadium in Querétaro were actually hiring security guards for the football game that took place this past Saturday. They were flying around the stadium. All you needed to do is have no penal records, and you didn't need to have any experience, and you were going to get paid 500 pesos for being a security guard for the day. So no wonder tragic things happen when you hire people that don't even know how to do their fucking job. But don't get me started. Let's see. Lynn doesn't understand why they seated these teams side by side rather than opposite side of midfield. Well, that wouldn't make for an interesting situation, would it? And that's part of the problem. You know, you put the opposing team cheers because if they're next to each other, you know, one can anticipate some kind of fun rivalry. But of course, nobody expects fun rivalry to involve ice picks and knives and people losing eyes and developing brain hemorrhages. But it is what it is. Let's see what else. Da, 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 da. Alan asks, what do you get extra in the ride that the union leader drives? Well, at least I hope a good sloppy blowjob. Oh my God, that was my outside voice. Sorry, that just sort of fell out of my mouth. Lynn, you'd think you're a newbie when you ask these questions. Seriously? What is the best way to walk up to to Paraíso? I suppose you mean Paraíso. We've talked about this so many times. We've shown the walking tour. We've walked the walk. I don't know what to tell you, Lynn, other than the fact that we spend so much time and energy nurturing a website full of resources for people like you. Go conduct a search. Christy says, woohoo, egg salad sandwiches. Here you go. Oh my God, I started last night. Yes, it claps. See? It's like, I'm hungry. Feed me eggs. It claps. I am so stoked to own one of those chingaderas. Never in my life have I ever had one. I am just the happiest person. Um, and yes, Mihal, sometimes it's the little things that brings us joy because the big things sometimes are complicated to obtain and it makes us complicated people, I suppose. Um, let's see. Best purchase at $20 a 20 a 20 color. I think that is a $20 coffee grinder. Nothing like freshly ground beans for a wonderful cup of coffee. Absolutely. I have two grinders myself, one to grind coffee and the other one to grind weed, which gets used every now and then. Javier writes something that I don't know if that's a cheer or an insult or a statement of mind or what. Can you explain what rum springa is? And I would be happy to celebrate that with you. Uh, Raymond, you never fail. You never disappoint. Be careful with that new contraption or the yoke's on you. I think I needed that. Let's see. Bucerias Rod Hardy says, my wife and I are definitely staying inside during the huge influx over that Easter week. Isn't that the best thing to do? Just like hang out at home and chill and do very little, next to nothing. I love it. That's exactly what I'm going to do. Let's see. Ramona asks, what percentage of occupancy are hotels currently at? Actually, Ramona, I don't remember because I think it's close to 100. Last time we reported on the latest mandates from the health department in the state, it was very, very high. In fact, the last time we reported it, we mentioned that it is so high, it really makes very little difference to us that live here and are not actually staying at hotels. So again, if you want to know, the state of Jalisco has their official website where all that information is clearly available for anyone that is as curious as you are. Alan is all packed and got his pesos from the bank today. Good for you. Randall reminds me of something wonderful. Randall went to Whiskey Kitchen. Well, yesterday when I was out and about, you see the kitchen supply store is right around the corner from my house, and it's across the street from the new Whiskey Kitchen. And yesterday morning, I connected with Gina and I just said to her, hey, I'm hungry and I'm thinking of you. So long story short, Gina and I are going to do an interview at the end of the week, and we'll do a walking tour of the new place, which is almost ready. And I could attest to that because on the way back home, I walked inside. They have now built a wonderful area in the back with beautiful hanging lights. That is separate from the hardware store that the restaurant is located within. And yes, we're still talking about doing a special shindig for coffee and headlines, which will be a lot of fun. So I will follow up as soon as I have more information on that. Let's see what else we have. Why? You mean because of the holiday may run out of money? Just curious. Wow, that's okay, Patty. I don't know if that was meant for me or for whom, but if you think I am storing I'm buying a lot of pantry stuff, it's not because we're gonna run out of money. It's because I don't want to deal with the onslaught of tourists in the city. But maybe your comment is not even meant for me. I don't know. Let's see what else we have. Da, da, da. Feed me eggs, Paco. You make me laugh, not at you, but at your commentary. Well, I have to. Don't you have fun with your appliances? And I'm not even high. I mean, you should see me when I'm baked. I talk to my spoons, and who doesn't? I am asking about the walk tomorrow because there is so much construction now and looking for an alternate route to get around it. Lynn, so much construction. I'm sorry, I have to snark you again, because the only construction that is going on is next to the bridge and next to that stretch of road. And that's barely 250 meters of the entire walk. So there's not a lot of construction going on, girl. It's just a little stretch. That's all there is. Enjoy the walk. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Javier explains Rumspringa, a rite of passage during adolescence, jumping or hopping around, used in some Amish communities. Oh, thank you very much for that. It's Amish spring break. Well, Rumspringa to you, and I'll have a Rumspringa with Coke Springa later on this afternoon. A Rumspringa with Coke. Otherwise, a Cuba Libre Springa. And I just made that up. Daryl says he loves Gina and Whiskey Kitchen. You know, I love Gina and I love Whiskey Kitchen and I love the food and I'm just dying for the new place to open up. David is kinder than I am today. He volunteers that there is a pedestrian bridge from El Remanso to Buenos Aires. This is true. That's another way to bypass the construction. And we have reported this as well. All it takes is looking at it on a Google map. Oh my God, there is a movie? Oh, okay. I'll have to look this up. Alan continues to insist on this notion of building catapults for people. Ah, I see. We could build another catapult to send people up to the other side of Manantial Street. That's very clever. I love it. I love it. And that love brings us to the end of today's broadcast. I apologize for being additionally snarky today. It's just the way Luna taught me to be today. So, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for keeping us company. Thank you for visiting our website and using the search function and looking at the plethora of information we've accumulated for you for the past 2 years. Yes, 2 years. We will celebrate our anniversary. We can have an anniversary party at Whiskey Kitchen. That's exactly what we're going to do. Anyhow, Amish. I knew I was onto something. Thank you very much, Harold. Not requested, but very much appreciated the correction. Amish is the way it is pronounced. Harold, I'll dare you to pronounce Huitzilopochtli or Yotzatzíhuatl correctly next time we have a conversation. Amish. And I'll find of creative ways to correct you back. Have a great day, and I'll see you again tomorrow.